People generally think of Hitler at the Eagle's Nest, Eva Braun's home movies, or they think of him perhaps in the bunker in Berlin.
Across Europe, the discovery of hidden Nazi bunkers offers a stark reminder of Hitler's wartime military ambitions. Remarkably, many of these substantial concrete strongholds remained undiscovered for years after World War II. These well-preserved and concealed structures lay hidden for decades, some buried deep underground, others obscured by dense forests, snow-capped mountains, or even beneath modern urban areas. Among these forgotten sites is the fortress of Mimoyex in northern France, near the English Channel. This location was one of the Third Reich's most ambitious secret armament projects, codenamed Bauvorben 711. This extensive subterranean complex was designed for a single, terrifying purpose: to house Hitler's London cannon, the V3 Vergeltungswaffen 3, a revolutionary supergun intended to devastate the British capital. The initial ambitious design envisioned 50 such guns firing simultaneously, potentially unleashing an astounding 3,000 projectiles per hour. Even after a reduction in scale, revised plans still aimed for 25 guns to bombard London with 600 shells each hour. Construction began with strict secrecy in September 1943. Engineers strategically chose the location, about 8 kilometers inland, to deter Royal Navy attacks, due to its proximity to a railway line for material transport and the stability of the solid chalk geology. The subterranean complex included 2 600-meter-long railway tunnels situated 30 meters underground. Above these, 5 large inclined shafts, angled at 50 ring operator, were intended to house the gun barrels. The workforce comprised over 5,000 individuals, including German engineers, miners from the Ruhr region, and enslaved Soviet prisoners who endured grueling 12-hour work shifts. Initially, Allied intelligence incorrectly identified the site as a V2 rocket base. Nevertheless, between November 1943 and August 1944, Allied bombers dropped over 4,102 tons of explosives on the complex. The decisive strike occurred on July 6, 1944, when the RAF's 617 Squadron, the Dambusters, deployed 16 12,000-pound, tall-boy, earthquake bombs. These bombs penetrated deep into the ground, causing catastrophic tunnel collapses and flooding. Canadian forces captured the abandoned fortress without resistance on September 5, 1944. Subsequently, in May 1945, Winston Churchill ordered its complete demolition using 36 tons of TNT, considering the site to represent the most devastating attack of all. Today, the partially preserved complex serves as a museum, featuring memorials to both the Allied airmen and the enslaved laborers who perished there. These bunkers were part of a much larger scheme. The reasons behind the Nazis' extensive efforts to conceal them and their continued discovery nearly a century later are compelling. While some were found filled with rust and debris, others contained startling discoveries. Just inland from the Normandy landing beaches lies the Mazy Battery, a particularly significant secret German installation rediscovered in recent decades. This battery remained buried and forgotten for over 60 years until 2004, when British amateur historian Gary Stern made an extraordinary find. Stern's discovery began with a chance encounter, a hand-drawn map found in the pocket of an American veteran's uniform, marking an area of high resistance near Grand Camp Mazy. After locating initial bunker entrances concealed beneath thick vegetation, Stern acquired the 44-hectare site from 27 different landowners. Excavation work at the Mazy Battery commenced in September 2005, revealing an extensive complex entirely absent from historical records. Further excavations in 2008 unearthed additional bunkers untouched since 1945, containing remarkable artifacts such as German helmets, gas masks, ammunition, and evidence of past firefights. Researchers employed LiDAR technology for a thorough study of the site, revealing burn marks on bunker ceilings, suggesting combat during its capture. The battery comprised 2 primary defensive positions, WN-83, Les Perreux, equipped with 6 155mm French howitzers, and WN-84, La Martiniere, containing 4 105mm guns. In total, The complex housed 14 substantial guns, including 150mm howitzers capable of targeting both Utah and Omaha beaches. Functioning almost as a small underground city, the facility included over 3 kilometers of trenches connecting numerous structures, such as personnel bunkers, an anti-aircraft radar control center, ammunition storage, a hospital, and officer quarters. Strategically situated below ground level in gently sloping terrain, the battery was virtually undetectable to Allied reconnaissance. Despite extensive pre-invasion bombardments, the Maisie Battery remained operational throughout D-Day and continued to shell Utah and Omaha beaches for 3 days after the landings. This oversight occurred mainly because Allied intelligence focused on the nearby Point du Hoc, while the Germans had constructed Maisie in complete secrecy. Ultimately, U.S. Rangers launched an assault on June 9, 1944. Elements of the 5th Ranger Battalion engaged in a 5-hour battle characterized by intense close-quarters combat, resulting in 18 American casualties before the position was captured. Upon seizure, the Rangers discovered over 180 tons of ammunition stockpiled within the facility, sufficient for weeks of continued bombardment. Along Denmark's coastline, approximately 7,000 bunkers, forming part of Hitler's Atlantic Wall, stand as remarkably preserved German fortifications. Constructed between 1940 and 1945, these massive concrete structures represented the largest construction project in Danish history, with a present-day equivalent cost of 300 to 400 billion kroner. In 2008, violent storms along Denmark's Huvig Beach led to the discovery of a historical treasure trove when waves eroded sand dunes, revealing 4 fully furnished German bunkers untouched since 1945. Local history enthusiast Tommy Casso was among the first to explore these time capsules after 2 9-year-old boys located them. Inside, archaeologists found an astonishing collection of personal items, including tobacco pipes, half-finished schnapps bottles, military uniforms, Hitler stamps, medicine vials, and communication equipment. Bent Anthonissen, a Danish expert on European bunkers, described the discovery as unique in Europe. One archaeologist remarked, "It was like entering the heart of a pyramid with mummies all around." Subsequently, immediate conservation efforts began, with artifacts transferred to the Elgod Museum's Conservation Center. The preservation of these items became urgent due to attempted break-ins within days of the discovery. Beyond these newly discovered bunkers, Denmark has converted several others into museums. The Tirpitz bunker in Blavand, formerly part of Hitler's Atlantic Wall, reopened in 2017 as the Blavand Bunker Museum, anticipating around 100,000 annual visitors. Similarly, the Bangsbo Fort Battery in Frederikshavn now operates as a museum, showcasing original German 150mm naval guns installed in 1944. The Bunker Museum Hirtshals offers visitors access to 54 excavated bunkers connected by 3.5 kilometers of trenches. Public reaction to these discoveries has been varied. Some Danes, like Ole Becher, whose grandfather was in the resistance, liken the discovery to Tutankhamun's tomb, arguing that preservation honors historical truth. However, others express disgust, with local resident Mogens Koch Hansen stating that everything should be blown up. The editorial board of Dagbladet Ringkøbing's newspaper supported preservation, stating, "They are part of our common European history." According to museum curator Kim Clausen, these findings, while not from the Bronze Age, are incredibly authentic and tell us a lot about how they lived in these bunkers. Today, these controversial structures have become popular tourist destinations, drawing thousands of visitors from both Denmark and neighboring Germany. Deep within Poland's Masurian woods lay the Wolf's Lair, Wolfschanz, which served as Hitler's primary Eastern Front headquarters during World War II. This substantial concrete fortress became one of the Third Reich's most secretive and strategically vital military installations. Situated near the town of Kętrzyn in northeastern Poland, the Wolf's Lair complex extended across 250 hectares of dense forest, deliberately chosen for its remote location and natural camouflage. Construction commenced in 1940, eventually encompassing 200 buildings, including bunkers, barracks, and support facilities. Hitler spent over 800 days at this fortified compound between 1941 and 1944, directing military operations while surrounded by his closest advisors and security personnel. The bunker walls reached an impressive thickness of 8 meters in some areas, designed to withstand potential aerial bombardment. On July 20, 1944, the Wolf's Lair was the site of the most well-known assassination attempt against Hitler. Colonel Claus von Stauffenberg, during a military briefing, placed a briefcase containing explosives beneath a conference table. The explosion resulted in the deaths of 4 men, but Hitler survived with only minor injuries after someone inadvertently moved the briefcase behind a heavy oak table leg. The failed plot, known as Operation Valkyrie, led to brutal reprisals. The Gestapo arrested more than 7,000 people and ultimately executed nearly 5,000 suspected conspirators. Von Stauffenberg himself was executed by firing squad in Berlin just hours after the attempt. In 2015, construction workers made a grim discovery near the Wolf's Lair complex: human remains that archaeologists later identified as belonging to a former concentration camp prisoner. Further excavation revealed that this individual was likely part of the forced labor battalions conscripted to build or maintain the massive fortification. Today, the Wolf's Lair attracts nearly 300,000 visitors annually who walk among the partially demolished ruins, offering a sobering glimpse into the nerve center of German military operations on the Eastern Front. Located at Hamburg's Vulkenhafen on the southern bank of the Elbe River, the Elbe II U-boat bunker stands as one of the most intriguing submarine facilities constructed during World War II. Built in 1941 using 50,000 cubic meters of concrete, this massive structure was designed to protect Germany's advanced submarine fleet. On November 11, 1945, 6 months after Germany's surrender, British Royal Engineers carried out a controlled demolition of Elbe II using 32 tons of explosives. The powerful detonation caused the bunker's central dividing wall to collapse, leading to catastrophic roof failure. This intentional destruction effectively sealed the fate of the submarines within, creating an accidental time capsule of German naval technology. Despite this severe damage, the structure proved remarkably resilient. Subsequent demolition attempts in 2001 using 150 kilograms of dynamite barely affected the remaining fortification. The entombed submarines remained virtually forgotten until 1985 when researchers Jack P. Malman-Schawel, Wolfgang Hirschfeld, and Walter Klutz rediscovered them. Their exploration yielded remarkable photographs documenting the submarine's condition after 4 decades underwater. Following this rediscovery, the site became a target for souvenir hunters, who sometimes dug down to open hatches and retrieve artifacts. Ultimately, in the 1990s, German authorities filled the bunker with gravel and concrete, transforming the area into a parking lot. Today, these once formidable warships lie beneath the Hamburg Free Port, completely inaccessible and requiring passport presentation even to visit the surface area. Among the most extensive fortifications in the occupied Channel Islands, the Holgangsenlage tunnels of Jersey represent a particularly somber chapter of German engineering. The name, literally translating to cave passage installations, was uniquely applied only to tunnel complexes in the Channel Islands within Hitler's Atlantic Wall defenses. Begun in 1941, the Jersey Tunnel Complex, designated Ho-8, was primarily designed as an underground shelter for German troops against potential Allied air raids. Excavated to depths of 50 meters underground and extending 300 meters into the hillside, these tunnels formed part of an ambitious network that consumed disproportionate resources. Notably, by 1944, the Channel Islands tunnels required the extraction of 244,000 cubic meters of rock, significantly more than the entire Atlantic Wall from Norway to Spain, which amounted to 225,000 cubic meters. Construction heavily relied on forced labor, with over 5,000 workers from across Europe, including Russians, Poles, French, and Spanish Republicans. These laborers toiled under harsh conditions, enduring brutal 12-hour shifts with rudimentary tools. Their treatment varied according to nationality, with Russian and Ukrainian prisoners facing particularly severe circumstances, leading to many deaths from malnutrition, disease, and exhaustion. As the threat of Allied invasion grew in 1943, German command repurposed Ho 8 into a casualty clearing station and emergency hospital. Following the liberation in May 1945, British forces opened the tunnels to the public in July 1946. After a 1961 legal ruling granted ownership to private landholders, the complex was transformed into Jersey War Tunnels, housing the permanent Captive Island exhibition, which details everyday life during the occupation. Contemporary visitors can undertake a poignant journey through the occupation narrative, complete with interactive displays that explore the islanders' dilemmas, resistance efforts, and daily struggles. The museum preserves the original operating theater and ward areas while also showcasing military vehicles, including replica German tanks. Additionally, the unfinished tunnel exhibit employs holographic displays to illustrate the harsh conditions endured by the forced laborers. In the forests near Mulldorf am Inn, Bavaria, the Third Reich initiated the construction of a remarkably unique underground factory in 1944. Codenamed Weingut-One, Vineyard-One, this massive structure represented a desperate attempt to safeguard Germany's advanced weapons production from escalating Allied bombing campaigns. Unlike conventional tunnel bunkers, Weingut-One employed an innovative construction method. Initially, workers created enormous gravel mounds, upon which they poured reinforced concrete to a thickness of 3 meters. This process formed massive concrete arches spanning 85 meters in width with an internal height of 32.2 meters. After the concrete hardened, the gravel underneath was excavated through a specially designed extraction tunnel. This engineering approach eliminated the need for traditional wooden scaffolding while facilitating rapid construction. The workforce behind this immense project reveals the darkest aspects of Nazi Germany. Of the approximately 10,000 total workers at the site, 8,500 were forced laborers, primarily Jewish concentration camp inmates and Soviet prisoners of war. Tragically, over 3,000 of these forced laborers perished from overwork, starvation, and SS brutality during construction. Those too weak to continue were often transported to Auschwitz. Despite the enormous human cost, Weingut-One never achieved its intended purpose. By April 1945, as American forces approached, only 7 of the planned 12 concrete arches had been completed. The 9-story underground factory intended to produce Messerschmitt Me 262 jet engines never became operational. Following the war, American forces discovered the partially finished structure with construction cranes still in place. In 1947, U.S. military engineers tested the bunker's resilience by detonating explosives that collapsed 6 of the 7 completed arches. Today, only one concrete arch remains standing as a somber memorial to the thousands who suffered and died during its construction. Towering in the forests of northern France, the Blockhaus Dieperlex stands as an imposing concrete giant, one of the most massive bunker structures within Hitler's Atlantic Wall defenses. Situated near St. Omer, this enormous fortification was constructed with a terrifying purpose that could have altered the trajectory of World War II. Its construction began in March 1943, primarily designed as the world's first V-2 rocket assembly, storage, and launch facility. The structure's immense dimensions, featuring walls up to 5 meters thick and ceiling heights reaching 28 meters, reflected its ambitious purpose. Over the course of its construction, it consumed approximately 150,000 cubic meters of concrete. The Nazi leadership considered this facility crucial to their vengeance weapon, Vergeltungswaffen, program targeting London, a mere 188 kilometers away. As construction progressed, Allied reconnaissance detected the facility, prompting Operation Crossbow, a massive bombing campaign against Hitler's V-weapon sites. On August 27, 1943, 187 B-17 Flying Fortresses dropped 368 tons of bombs on the site. These bombing campaigns proved remarkably effective, rendering the structure beyond repair and forcing the Germans to abandon plans for rocket launches from this location. Consequently, the facility never launched a single operational V-2 toward Britain. Today, the Blockhaus Dieperlex serves as a sobering monument to German military ambition and the Allied determination to counter it. In fact, The French government designated it a historical monument in 1985. Visitors can explore exhibition halls housing rare V-1 and V-2 rocket components alongside displays explaining the facility's connection to concentration camp labor. Moreover, the site attracts approximately 50,000 visitors annually who walk through the preserved sections, including the massive main hall and underground passages. The northwest face still bears visible bomb damage, a testament to Allied precision bombing that ultimately helped prevent this menacing structure from fulfilling its intended purpose. Concealed beneath the Austrian town of St. Georgen and Dergusen, the B-8 Burgerstall facility emerged as one of the Third Reich's most sophisticated underground manufacturing complexes. Officially established in March 1944, this vast subterranean installation stretched across 50,000 square meters of bomb-proof, gas-tight tunnels cutting through the Austrian countryside. Primarily designed for the assembly of the revolutionary Messerschmitt Me-262 jet fighter, B-8 Burgerstall represented a desperate attempt to shield critical aircraft production from intensifying Allied bombing campaigns. The facility's remarkable output reached approximately 450 fully equipped jet plane fuselages monthly by April 1945. Throughout its operational period, Allied intelligence reports confirmed that 987 jet-propelled aircraft left the production lines before the war ended. The production process involved assembling fuselages and wings at Burgerstall before transporting them by railway during nighttime to various locations in southern Germany and Bohemia for final assembly. Security surrounding the operation was extraordinarily tight. Even German civilian employees were forbidden from revealing the town where they worked. Life for workers at Burgerstall reflected unimaginable brutality. Approximately 10,000 slave laborers toiled in the tunnels, 6,500 in construction and 3,500 in production. These prisoners came primarily from the nearby Mauthausen concentration camp complex, with many specifically selected for their technical expertise as physicists, chemists, or engineers. Jewish prisoners faced particularly horrific treatment, often surviving merely days in what prisoners called the Hell of Hells. Indeed, those assigned to tunnel construction had an average survival period of just 4 months. Workers endured 14-hour shifts in tunnels filled with thick dust, requiring headlamps to see, resulting in approximately 100 deaths daily. Housing conditions proved equally deadly, with prisoners frequently lacking adequate shelter, food, clothing, and safe drinking water. On May 5, 1945, elements of the U.S. 11th Armored Division's 41st Cavalry Reconnaissance Squadron liberated the facility.